I'm back! Hi everyone, welcome to noxreads. I'm Nox, and this is the Booktube Newbie-ish tag. You might have seen me around before. I actually had a Booktube channel since 2019, but recently I've really needed a fresh start, and I have decided to completely delete that channel and start from the beginning. And here I am. Hi! And what better way to christen my new Booktube channel than with the Booktube Newbie tag. A shout out to Sandria, I believe, here on Booktube. I got the questions from her video, which I will leave linked down below. The first question, why did you start this channel? Like I said, I had a channel, but a lot's happened in the past few years and I really needed a fresh start. I've been dealing with a lot and I have been incredibly lonely throughout the entire past 3 or 4 years of my life. So I'm really excited for the fresh start here. I miss talking with people about books. I miss gushing over books or ranting about them in the case of Riley Sager. And I really miss the community that's here on Booktube. So here I am. I'm very excited, also very anxious, but mostly excited. I'm in a slightly better place, if not a more consistent place now. So I am hoping I can be here consistently and show up and make friends. Question number 2, what are some unique things you can bring to Booktube? So I'm chronically ill and disabled. I have chronic pain, and I also have a condition called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures or dissociative seizures. Essentially, I am the human equivalent of a fainting goat. When my body is stressed, like with chronic pain, which I have, or my brain is stressed, like with chronic anxiety and a host of other mental conditions that I have, I seize. And it's a lot, but it leads to an interesting knowledge about accessibility and what's accessible for me and other people who may have seizures. So I am recording this right now while I have a concussion. I've had a concussion for the past 2 weeks and it has not gotten better. And I've been only able to read through audiobooks. So I can talk a lot about audiobooks. In fact, next Saturday, that video is planned to be all about my favorite audiobooks, inspired heavily by The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar, and that audiobook is amazing. So I think that's an interesting perspective I can bring. I also read across genres and age groups. There are only 3 genres that I don't really read, those being dystopian, dark romance, and romantasy. And I will read middle grade, YA, adult. So I'm not really a genre-specific channel, although I do follow a lot of genre-specific channels. The main one I'm thinking of being Literature Science Alliance. If you recommend me anything outside of those 3 genres, I'm most likely going to read it. So please give me book recommendations. Number 3, what are you most excited for? I have now realized that I cannot work a traditional job. Right now I'm doing contract tutoring, but even that can be too much for me. And I am a contract contributor on Feminist Book Club, which is much more accessible to me. I am currently in the process of filing for disability because I just can't work a traditional job anymore. But I feel like that's allowed me to finally let myself spend what little spoons I do have on things that bring me joy, like this, like Booktube, like reading. And so I'm excited to use that little energy I do have for the ideas that I have had for years and be able to put them into practice now that I have finally allowed myself to be disabled, if that makes sense. And I have hopefully figured out a system that will make Booktube more accessible for me, so I can hopefully be more consistent with my videos and read a lot more. And while this is primarily going to be a Booktube channel, I'm letting myself be open to storytelling as an entire medium. So when I'm out of my fall or winter slump caused by chronic pain, I'm going to be making videos every other Tuesday called TTRPG Tuesday about solo TTRPGs, because that's another mode of storytelling that I just absolutely love. I'm going to be open to talking about TV shows and films and just any way I can get my hands on a story. I think that's going to help me a lot avoid burnout, and it's also going to help me be more creative, which I am incredibly excited for. Number 4, why do you love reading? This feels like such a heavy question in a way, because it also depends on what I'm reading. For nonfiction, I've always loved learning things, and I still love learning things. And there are so many different ways to learn things when it comes to nonfiction. I've been in a huge nonfiction kick this year. In fact, I'm pretty sure my 2 favorite books of the year are both nonfiction books, and I don't see anything surpassing them anytime soon. When it comes to fiction, though, again, that depends on genre. With romance, I love thinking about love and knowing that love is out there in the world. I think it's a core necessity to the universe, if that makes sense. And with mysteries and thrillers, I grew up with a family that really loved mystery and thrillers, and so I just always want to try to solve the mystery. I never can. With horror, I like being able to decide when I want to be creeped out by something or scared, and I can't handle most horror movies because of gore or jump scares. I think jump scares are cheap tricks. If you've seen the first Scream movie, that is the most gore that I can handle. That is it. I cannot handle any more than that. So reading a horror book allows me to choose how I want to be scared. With fantasy and sci-fi, I love being in a different world. You know, I grew up with my grandfather watching Twilight Zone. My favorite movie is Hocus Pocus. I love me some fantasy and I love me some sci-fi. Number 5, when did you start reading? I've been reading since I was a little kid. One of my earliest memories is when I was 4 years old and I was on a trip with my grandmother to go see my Thea in San Francisco. We stopped in Solvang along the way. My grandma was grabbing us some Danishes, and I walk around this small store and buy this really thick book, because it was actually 2 books. I somehow find a bind-up of the first Nancy Drew books, the first 2 of them, The Secret of the Old Clock and The Hidden Staircase. And The Hidden Staircase will always be my favorite Nancy Drew book. I don't think I was at a reading level yet where I could really process Nancy Drew, but I wanted this book, and my grandma was just like, yeah, okay. And I spent that rest of the trip reading this bind-up. When your earliest memory is associated with books, I don't think you can escape the book life. But my mom and grandma were both avid readers, so I spent a lot of time surrounded by books. Weekly trips to the library, or just sitting in a Barnes & Noble and reading with my mom and my dad, which you can't really do anymore. And that pains me because it is such a core memory to me. I kind of had a reading slump from freshman year to the middle of my senior year of high school, until a friend recommended that I pick up The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer and lended me her copies. And I've been an avid reader ever since, with a few minor reading slumps here and there, but never one as long as the one I was in high school. Number 6, what kind of books do you like to read? Like I said, I will read anything that's not dystopian, romantasy, or dark romance. And I would be doing a disservice to them if I tried to read them, because I would automatically hate them. I will only do that for one author.
And his name is Riley Sager.
You will soon learn how much I hate Riley Sager's books. I am sorry. I do like fantasy that has a romantic subplot, or vice versa, but romantasy as a category just doesn't get me. I'm sorry, Fourth Wing. Do you know how bad something has to be for me not to want to consume media that has dragons in it? Dragons. Dragon. Like I said, I've been on a huge nonfiction kick this year, and also, I don't know how to describe this subgenre well, but I refer to it as translated Japanese slice of life books, such as The Full Moon Coffee Shop, or The Kamigawa Food Detectives, or Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I absolutely love those stories. They're so heartwarming. I just love them so much. I don't know what else to say about them. Number 7, where do you read? I spend most of my time laying down because, again, chronic pain. But I'm not even kidding, 2 days ago, we set up our couch to be like a bed, and I spend most of my time now out here on the couch. I'm going to turn it into the perfect cozy reading nook. I'm going to get more fluffy blankets. I'm very, very excited for this. Maybe even some fairy lights, some crochet, so it's not just a white wall. I'm very, very excited for this. Number 8, what does your book collection look like? So I have one bookcase so far, and it is already filled with books. But I get a lot of books sent to me because I'm a contributor at Feminist Book Club. I get the nonfiction book every month for FBC, and then I get ARCs or finished copies in the mail sent by publishers. So there's a giant stack of books that don't fit on that bookcase yet. We might have to get a second one. Number 9, questions to ask your favorite booktubers. Oh, I have so many. The first one is, do you ever get over this idea of imposter syndrome? I know that's something that I've heard a lot of people talk about having, and it's definitely something I've experienced, especially with Booktube. So do you have any tips? Because it's a bitch. The second question would be, how do you build friendships and community on Booktube? Because that is something I desire deeply, but I am not sure how to execute. It's the driving force behind me making these videos, but I'm kind of unsure of how to go about it. So if you have any advice for that, that would be lovely. Number 3 is, do you have any book recommendations for me? Because I'm always looking for more. And question number 10, the final one, challenges to overcome. Mostly spoons, because I'm disabled and I can never predict when my flare-ups are going to happen. But also, as I was recording this, my partner, who did not know I was recording, came out from a nap into the room and I froze. So maybe the idea of being perceived is more of a obstacle than I thought. I guess I kind of feel silly a little bit devoting so much time to something that's not work, and that's really a problem I have to get over and, at my partner's suggestion, talk to my therapist about. But also a really big one that stopped me in the past is imposter syndrome. It's the idea that nobody cares what I have to say, that there are people who make these videos way better than I ever could, that my opinions mean nothing to anybody, and I can get very existential about this. I will get so caught up in comparing myself to other people that I will just freeze, and I will never post anything. At the very least, though, I'm pretty sure my partner would watch these videos, especially if they're only once or twice a week. So that's one person. I have jokingly in the past said I know that I'm an influencer because I've influenced at least one person to read certain books, that person being my partner. So maybe I just have to focus on that. I'm an influencer, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I feel awkward now. I'm just hoping I can get past this awkward stage, but also I don't think I really can until I try. So, with that said, hey, I finished my first video. Round of applause. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, next Saturday's video is hopefully going to be about my favorite audiobooks. And if you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Make sure to drink something that will hydrate you, even if it's not water. Take your meds if you have to. May the spoons be with you. Bye.